In every person who has the incoming event, especially wedding, they want their moments to be very grand and special, because in this moment they will have a very special day. Today I'm gonna be teaching you how to create a very prestigious wedding invitation inside After Effects. So without any further ado, I want you to show guys what we are gonna be making today. First, I will go to composition and create a new composition. I will name it placeholder 1. 1920 by 1080p, 30 frames per second and 15 seconds duration. Click OK. I will right away go to my project panel and open this assets folder. I will open the footage. I will drop down this video into my timeline and press S for the scale. I will just make the scale to be 50% just to fit into my canvas. And right away I will go to composition, create a new composition, and I will name it placeholder media 1. (1920 by 1080p, 30 frames per second and 15 seconds duration). Click OK, and I will drop it here so that it will be out of the footage folder. I will drag down my placeholder 1. Right click, I will drop it down. Right click my mouse, enable time remapping. I will extend this layer up to the end of my timeline and also the keyframe. Right away pre-compose it to make it procedural. I will click OK, move all the attributes into the new composition. I will press T on my keyboard for the opacity. Just make this opacity 20%. So now I will go to composition and create a new composition. I will name it text placeholder 1. (1920 by 1080p, 30 frames per second and 15 seconds duration). I will go to my image and drop down this RG frame on my timeline. Press S on my keyboard for the scale and Shift P for the position. I will make the scale only 25%. Highlight the RG frame and drag this frame into the rightmost corner bottom of your canvas. Drop the I and Y footage. I will highlight both of them. Right click my mouse to enable time remapping. Extend this layer to the end of my timeline. I will press on my keyboard P for the position. Position these letters. I will also change the scale here. Press S on my keyboard. Make this 75%. Again, I will press P on my keyboard for the position and adjust it. Then grab your text tool and type inviting. I'm using Beatrice regular at 250 font size. The spacing in between letters is 0 and the height of the letter is 80. Drag it down a bit. Highlight this one and go to 1 second. Press T on my keyboard for the opacity. I'll just create a keyframe here and move my playhead to about 2 seconds duration. Create a keyframe. Make the opacity value to 100%. I will just go back here. I will change this to 0. Then I will highlight it again and duplicate it. I will press P on my keyboard for the position. I will just drag it down, move it in here, then double click my mouse to change the text to OU. Font is Beatrice, regular, 250 pixels. I will just drag it a bit here. Press U on your keyboard to see the keyframes. highlight these two keyframes and move it at the 2-second duration. I will duplicate it again. Press P on your keyboard for the position, bring it down, and double click your mouse and type 2 hour. And press U on my keyboard to see the keyframes. Highlight these two keyframes and move it to about 30 seconds duration. I will highlight all these layers and press T on my keyboard for the opacity. Move forward my playhead to about 8 seconds. Create a keyframe. And then move forward my playhead to about 10 seconds duration. Make it 0. I will highlight it all and I will press F9 to ease it. So now I will go back to composition, create a new composition, and I will name it reflection. Click OK. And I will drag this reflection down in my timeline. Press S on my keyboard for the scale. Make it only 50%. And highlight this layer and go to effects and preset and stylize motion tile. I will change the output width to 1000 and also the output height, and make sure that your playhead is at the beginning and create a keyframe on the tile center and move forward your playhead to about at the end of the timeline. Move your X position like this. And I will again go to composition and create a new composition. I will name it media 1. 1920 by 1080p, 30 frames per second and 15 seconds duration. Click OK. I will open my project panel and drop down the RG bouquet in my timeline. I will right away pre-compose it. Move all the attributes to the new composition. Click OK. I will drag this placeholder media 1 in my timeline. Highlight this RG bouquet. I will grab my pen tool to create a mask and draw a mask like this. Expand the mask and make the mask from add to subtract. Then increase the mask further like this. Highlight your placeholder and press P on your keyboard for the position. Move the image on this side until the couples are seen. So we will close it. Go back to my placeholder media. Highlight this placeholder and go to effects and preset and go to color correction. I'll just add 10 and I will just make this 50%. And I will go back to my media 1 project panel and I will drop down this reflection. Text placeholder. I will change the reflection to alpha matte. Highlight the reflection. Go to effects and preset. Go to stylize and CC glass. And I want the surface bump map to the text placeholder 1. I will change the height here to 30. Effects again and go to distort, CC globalize. Blob layer here to text placeholder 1 and change the cutaway to 1. And I will go back to reflection. I will go to layer and add a new adjustment layer. I will just add color correction curves. Make your curve like this. Open media 1. Highlight the text placeholder and go to edit. I will duplicate it. Enable the visibility in here and I will drop it down just below the reflection. And I will go to effects and preset. Go to blur and sharpen. I will just add CC radial blur. I will change the type to fading zoom and the amount is just 2. So now I will go back to my project panel and close this footage and image including the assets. Create a new folder and I will name it scene 1. I will highlight these compositions here and I will drag it down to my scene 1 folder. Again, I will create another folder and I will name it scene 2. I will open the scene 1 folder and highlight all these compositions. Go to edit and duplicate it and drag it down to your scene 2 folder. Close the scene 1. Double click your mouse to open it up. Here I will highlight these two layers and press on my keyboard delete. Also these two text layers, I will highlight it and I will press delete. Then I will go to my assets, open the footage folder. I will drop down this footage on my timeline. Right click my mouse, enable time remapping. I will expand this layer up to the end of my timeline. Press P on my keyboard for the position. I will just drag it up. Drag this text down. Double click my mouse to change the text to wedding. Press P on your keyboard for the position and drag it on the left a bit. Then I will open the image folder and I will drop down this heart shape. I will right away go to effects and preset, generate fill. I will press S on my keyboard for the scale and I will change this to 50% and change the color to white. That's too big, so I will just change it maybe 10%. Yeah, that's right. And then press P on your keyboard for the position, drag it down. And then grab your text tool and type Charles. Still the same, Beatrice, but the font size, I will change this to 100 instead of 250. And I will duplicate this. Press P on your keyboard for the position, drag it on the right side. Double click my mouse to change the text to Charlene. You can put any names you want. I will highlight the Charles again and press P on my keyboard for the position and I will just drag it near the heart shape. I will open the project panel again, the ornament ding. I will drag it down to my timeline. And press S for the scale, put this to 50%. Press P on your keyboard for the position and I will just drag it up a bit. I will right click my mouse and enable the time remapping. Highlight these two keyframes and go to edit and copy it. I will paste it right away. Select this keyframe and move it at the end of your timeline. I will highlight these three layers and move it up. I will also change the size of the ornamental thing. I will just press S on my keyboard for the scale, maybe 70%. I will move my playhead at the beginning, highlight these three layers and press T for the opacity. Highlight the Charles and make sure that your playhead is at the beginning and make this value 0. Create a keyframe for the opacity and move your playhead to about 3 seconds and make this opacity 100%. Also highlight this Charlene and move your playhead to about 2 seconds. Change the value here to 0. Make a keyframe. Move your playhead to about 4 seconds duration and make it 100. The heart shape, highlight the heart shape and go to effects and preset. Go to generate stroke. Change the color of your stroke, probably red, and grab your pen tool. Make a mask like this. Reveal original image. Move your playhead to 1 second duration and create a keyframe on the end. And I will hit the stopwatch here to create a keyframe and change the value here to 0 and move your playhead probably at the 5 seconds duration. And I will change this end to 100%. Highlight all the keyframes. Press F9 to ease it. I will click Q on my keyboard to see the keyframes on the heart shape. Highlight both keyframes. Press F9 to ease it. We'll close this one all. Highlight it all and press T on your keyboard for opacity. Go my playhead to about 11 seconds. Make the opacity 100%. and move my playhead forward to about 13 seconds, and I will change this to 0. I will highlight these 4 keyframes and delete it. Highlight this heart shape, and I will create a keyframe for the opacity. Move my playhead to about 13 seconds and make it 0. I will highlight these 2 keyframes and go to edit, copy it, and move my playhead to about 11 seconds duration, paste it. I will interchange the keyframes here and move my playhead to about 13 seconds. Make this keyframe align to the playhead we have. I will highlight the ornamental thing and expand it. Move this playhead to about 11 seconds duration and move this keyframe here. And move my playhead to about 13 seconds duration. I highlight this keyframe and move it. I will drag it back. So now I will highlight all these keyframes and also press F9 to ease it. I will go open my placeholder 2 and replace this image. I will delete this one, open my project panel and drop down this footage on my timeline. Press S on my keyboard for the scale. I will scale it like this. Open placeholder media 2. I will click my keyboard alt and hold it. Replace the placeholder 1 with placeholder 2. Go to media 2. Delete this one because I'm not tweaking these compositions. Also the RG bouquet. Highlight this placeholder media 1. I will click alt and hold on my keyboard and replace it with placeholder media 2. Highlight this text placeholder 1 and replace it with the text placeholder 2. I will go back to my text placeholder 2. I will just adjust this one, move it a bit. I will just highlight all these layers. Press P on my keyboard for the position. I'll just drag this on the right side a bit. So when we go and look at our media 2, nice. So all we have to do is to highlight this bouquet, go to effects and preset, color correction, curves. I'll just darken it a bit and I will copy these curves. Go to media 1 and highlight this RG bouquet, paste it, boom. So now I will again go to my project panel. I will create another folder and I will name it scene 3. I will open this scene 2 folder. Again, I will highlight all these compositions and go to edit, duplicate it. I will drag it down to my scene 3 folder. I will close it, highlight all these compositions. But first, I will just delete this because I'm not using it anymore, just to have some kind of space for us to work with. And I will double click these compositions to open it up. Delete these layers. I will highlight it except the frame. Press on my keyboard delete. And I will duplicate this RG frame. I will go to layer, flip horizontal. And then press P on my keyboard for the position. And drag it on the left bottom side of our canvas. I think that should be good enough, and then go back to my assets folder, go to footage and drop down this pointed thing. I will go to effects and preset, generate fill. I want it white. Press S on your keyboard for the scale and make this 50%. I will highlight the pointed thing again and press V on my keyboard for the position, drag it up. And I will duplicate this pointed thing. I will highlight both and right click my mouse, enable time remapping, expand this up to the end of my timeline. Press P on my keyboard for the position. I will just drag it down. I will grab my text tool and type 01-20-22. I will change the font size to 250, align it horizontally. Press P on your keyboard for the position and drag it down a bit. I will highlight this pointed thing and I will go to layer, transform and flip vertically. I will go and grab my text tool and type Frenchman Butte Church. Only 100 pixel size and font is still Beatrice. Just align it horizontally. I will drag it up a bit, edit, duplicate, and then double click my mouse and change this to Lloydminster, Saskatchewan. Press P on my keyboard for the position. I'll just drag it a bit down. Again, I will duplicate this one. And I will double click my mouse, change the text to Canada. Press P on my keyboard for the position, and again I will drag it down. I will align it to center horizontally. I will go my playhead at the beginning. I will highlight all these text layers. Press T on my keyboard for the opacity, and I will make this to 0. Click the stopwatch in here to create a keyframe. Move forward my playhead to about 2 seconds duration, and I will change this to 100%. Also, these two RG frames, I will highlight it. Press T on my keyboard for the opacity. Move my playhead at the beginning of the timeline. I'll change this to 0. Create a keyframe. Move forward to about 2 seconds duration and make this 100%. Then move forward my playhead to about 13 seconds. And then move this forward. And also highlight all these layers. Press T for the opacity and create a keyframe, and then move forward your playhead to about at the end of your timeline and make it 0. All you have to do is to highlight all these keyframes and press F9 to ease it. So now when we play this one, nice. So now we will open the media 3. All you have to do in the media 3 folder is to delete this placeholder because we don't use it anymore. Press Alt on your keyboard and hold it and highlight the text placeholder 2. Replace it with the text placeholder 3. Delete the placeholder 3 because we don't use the placeholder 3, right? So now I will go and create another composition and I will name it Final. Instead of 15 seconds, I will use 40 seconds. Click OK. I will open the Scene 1 folder and drag the Media 1. I will also open the Scene 2 and drag the Media 2. I will move my playhead to about 10 seconds and press open bracket key to move my Media 2 layer, and then open the Scene 3 folder and drop down in your timeline the Media 3. Now move your playhead to about 20 seconds. Press open bracket key to move your layer. Let's try to preview this. Nice. I'm gonna go back to the Scene 2 folder and highlight this reflection. I will just delete it because I didn't tweak it, and also the RG bokeh, I will just delete it. The light leak too, I want to delete it. So this is the only thing that we need on our Scene 2 folder. So I will just close these ones. I'm just gonna change the duration on this, so I will go to composition and go to composition setting. Instead of 40, I will just change it to 35 seconds and I will click OK. Then I will go to my layer and create a solid. I will name it Fade In. I will put it on top of my timeline. Move my playhead to about 1 second. Then go to edit and split the layer. I will go my playhead to about 34 seconds. I will again go to edit, split the layer. I will delete this layer. Highlight both of them. Press T on my keyboard for the opacity. And I will change this to 0. The stopwatch here. Create a keyframe. Go my playhead at the end of my timeline. Make this 100%. I will go back here to the start of my timeline. Create a keyframe here. Move my playhead to about 1 second. And I will make it a 0. And then I will go to composition and create a new composition. I will name it Final. Click OK. I will just change this composition's name. Rename it Main.
and I will drop down this main, and I will change the resolution here to quarter. Let's try to preview it. So there you go, guys. So now our tutorial is complete, and I hope you guys will enjoy it and learn from it, because this is a complete tutorial on how I made this kind of project. If you like this video, guys, don't forget to like, because it helps a lot on my channel. Just comment down below if you have any questions or queries, and don't forget to subscribe. Press the notification bell so that you will be notified in all the videos that I'm gonna be uploading in the future, okay? So my thoughts for today, guys, is that in every good effort that you exerted, there is always a corresponding reward at the end. So thank you guys for watching, and God bless. See you next time.